Man, listen to me. Stevie J was in the car with us when Big got brother. In the car behind us. I sold a chain that weekend to Stevie J that he didn't even pay me for the cross on it or nothing. You know what I'm saying? He gave me half the money. He took that same chain that I sold him, brother, and gave it to Faith the night that Big died, talking about he was giving it to Lil Chris. He didn't even own the chain at the time.
Diddy's been the party guy forever.
Yeah, no, facts.
Forever. Now, the music industry, not just Diddy, but the rich and famous, they love coming over to, this is their playground, is the music industry. Because the women singing are the highest trophies. The men rapping are the highest trophies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's other good-looking women out there, but they're not her who's selling, who the world is going crazy over. Rich people like to see, rich people don't really like women, you know, like this beautiful woman, like, but to them, they want somebody that the world yearns for. So they want stars. So the music industry now has been exposed because those rich, you don't think, forget about the artist who's on tapes. What about the politicians and the politicians' nieces and nephews and sons and brothers? Because everybody wants to go to a party.
Well, and let's remember, you're going to have at least one witness and probably a parade of witnesses of black females who are going to claim that they were victimized by Diddy. And so in order to give sort of a human face to that, maybe suggest that's not the case, that it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the jury is finding cues in every piece of evidence, but also who's representing him. And if they just have a bunch of white folks sort of defending him, all those black female alleged victims maybe they're gonna look like they're being targeted by his high-priced legal team.
We're talking about Stevie J, the Grammy-winning producer, reality TV personality, and longtime friend of Diddy, now caught in the middle of serious controversy. Why? Because Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, is speaking out and naming names, and Stevie J is one of them. For years, rumors have surrounded Scene Diddy Combs, whispers of secret parties, unusual behavior, and mounting lawsuits. Now, those rumors are surfacing in the open, with over 100 legal actions filed, ranging from financial disputes to more serious allegations. The pressure is growing. But the real twist? Gene Deal, who was there for it all, is pulling back the curtain in interviews. He claims to have seen what really went on behind the scenes, and Stevie J's name has entered the conversation.
Now we are live at the Sleazy J's event, pop-up event in Atlanta with the man himself, Mr. Stevie J. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yes. So you look amazing tonight, first of all.
I appreciate it.
You're all blinged out. You got the brooch, the ring. So how excited are you? I know this is a thing you've been working on. How excited are you to have this event tonight?
Well, it feels great to, finally have a dream come true, to open up pop-up parties for people to come and dance and have fun. And, a lot of times people forget where I came from as far as musically, how many records I've sold, over 100 million records, and how many Grammys I have, and how many instruments I play. So tonight I wanted to show them.
I gotta ask you,
Okay.
Of course, the trial's coming up with Diddy.
Free the guy. Free the guy.
I know you said you think he's cleared of all charges. How do you think it's gonna play out?
I mean, I didn't say that he's going to be cleared of all charges. I said let the court, dictate what it's going to be. But
you can't even say he's going to be cleared of all charges. Not even Stevie J can say that, honey.
I just feel it's a lot of it's just a lot of attached to it. You notice those 200 cases from that lawyer from what's the guy, Busby or whatever.
Gene Deal has been making waves with his appearances on The Art of Dialogue and other platforms, sharing what he claims to have witnessed while working with Diddy, and some of it is jaw-dropping. He's spoken about the wild parties Diddy allegedly hosted, describing them as far beyond typical industry gatherings. According to Gene, Stevie J wasn't just a guest at these events. He was reportedly involved in organizing and entertaining. While Gene didn't outright accuse him of anything illegal, he strongly implied that Stevie played a bigger role behind the scenes than people realized.
Guys, the question you need to ask yourself is, when is Stevie J gonna start snitching?
because we all know that in the Lil Rod lawsuit, that was Stevie J in that video that was in that compromised situation with the white gentleman. You dig, on the video. So Stevie J was more like a play toy, like a, you know, we all know he's been broke since Love and Hip Hop. He didn't have any money, and he just happened to be living at one of Diddy's residences when it got busted. So see, that was another one of Diddy's play toy. Like in the world, they called that a, and they called that a bull. Stevie J is what you call a bull. He's the one that was doing the pitching while a lot of people was catching, including Puff Daddy, while it got filmed. You know, this is the way that Stevie J was paying his rent. So it's gonna be very interesting to see if Stevie J is going to be a suspect or a witness. I'm willing to bet he's definitely gonna be a witness. Have a good day.
And he indulging with Diddy like that, and now he's invited to the Diddy parties. In that whole thing, if you read it, he said that Diddy said he was having a relationship with Stevie J. So all I can say is this, man. If two men lay down, how many homos get up?
Two.
In my book. That's all you can say, man. You don't know. You know, unless you catch them in an act like that. You understand what I'm saying? But if he said, Puff said that he laid down with Stevie J and two men lay down, two homos get up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hell of a quote, man. And if I'm not mistaken, Stevie J, he was with you the night Big got killed, right?
Yeah, Stevie J was there. Stevie J was there. And as soon as Big died, he was supposed to get on a plane with us, with them, and go to New York. He rushed to Faith Hotel. Rushed just to the hotel. He was wearing my cross and my chain, right? I said, Stevie, I'm not selling you my cross. My cross got blessed. He said, let me wear it. I said, yo, okay, bruh. He gave me $1,500 for the chain and then never paid me for the cross. Ended up giving Faith the cross and the chain to give to little Chris Wallace.
And Gene didn't stop there. He claimed that some of these parties included a wide mix of attendees, young adults, executives, celebrities, and even everyday people. No phones, no cameras, just secrecy. One of the most surprising things he mentioned, that Diddy's own mother, Janice Combs, may have been present at some of these events. That detail alone left many people stunned.
And him on the couch, and both of them are getting IVs after one of the Diddy parties. Allegedly. I'm gonna say allegedly because I wasn't there and I didn't know. But they showed them both getting IVs on the couch. So my whole thing about this thing is that I'm not saying that she was ever at a freak off. She was ever at that type of party. But you can't tell me Miss Janice Combs, who was always at the regular parties, didn't know nothing about the freak off parties. This is the same dude, bruh, that used to disrespect his mother. So I seen the love now that they have for each other only on film and camera. You know, on the YouTube or Instagram or wherever they were showing it and stuff like that. But this the same guy that Kirk Burrows once told me he slapped his mother. And I told everybody, had I known he slapped his mother after I told Kirk Burrows, Kirk told me after I straightened his out for cussing his mama out. His mother came in the limousine and he was on the phone and she said, yo, why don't you tell these people like that? And he just cussed her clean out like on some, didn't I tell you to stay out my business? And I was like, yo, I was shocked. She didn't say nothing. I said to him, I said, yo, boy, let me tell you something. If you ever cuss your mama again, I'm gonna beat the out you. You ain't gonna bring nothing but bad luck to us treating your mama like that.
Gene Deal didn't hold back. He claimed that if Diddy's mother was present at those parties, even at 70, she was no different from the rest. The freaks come out at night, he said, quoting directly. He also mentioned her history of dating younger men, not illegal, but in this context, it raised eyebrows. This isn't just about one person anymore. It suggests that Diddy's entire circle, including people like Stevie J, may have been involved in something much deeper than the public ever realized. Now, let's rewind to another scandal, the 1997 death of the notorious Big, still one of hip-hop's biggest unsolved mysteries. Recently, Stevie J spoke on that night, describing it as just a normal evening. But Gene Deal challenged that version of events, strongly implying there's more to the story.
Pop mogul Sean Diddy Combs was on the scene of one of the most high-profile rapper assassinations in history. He launched a record label that dominated the charts and redefined the rap genre, along with a clothing line and a cable channel. If you're thinking someone should really make a documentary about his life, he's already beat you to it.
Clark Kent. Clark Kent, the DJ, who was also a vice president of Motown Records at one time, said, I was in Big's room that night before he got and I asked him what he was going to do. He said, D-Rock and Puff set this party up for me to go to. You understand? I carried that stuff on my heart for years, because I thought I had let him down, because I thought that I could stop Big from going to that party. You understand? There's nothing I could do to stop him from going to the party. So now, we at the place, I see Chris Lattimore. I say, yo, we got like 23 people with us. I watch all 23 guys go through the door. They stopped right there. They took us up the escalator. They put us into a section in the back to the left where cars was at. You understand? Puff said, bring me all the bottles you got left. So Puff, they brought all the bottles that they had left in the back. Puff took like that, then they just started partying. Big didn't have no smoke. He told Little C's, C's, go find me some smoke. So Little C's went and found some girls who had some smoke. They came over and they started smoking. So I'm behind Big. I'm looking at, it's a lot of bloods and everything up in there. So I take my gun and I put it behind my back, and I kept my arms behind my back with my gun out.
You're standing like that?
Huh?
So I would know if you're standing like that.
Yeah.
You're standing like that.
Yeah, I'm like that. Yeah, I'm like this with my hands behind my back.
You have a suit, you have a jacket, what do you got on?
No, I got a Mecca Audio black shirt with the number 4.
Okay. So I can tell that you're carrying. If the average guy's gonna know you're carrying. Okay, right. Got it. Right. And you're behind Big at this time.
Big.
Okay, I'm tracking.
Big. They say they're about to close the place.
What time is it at this time?
Probably about 11:45, close to 12 o'clock, something like that. And they about to close the place. So then I said to one of the dudes, Paul, I said, yo, Paul, you good? He said, yeah, I'm good. I said, here, hold this. And that was a Glock 26. I gave it to him. You understand? Because I had another weapon on. I had my personal weapon. My personal weapon on me, and I had a Glock 26. And I said, yo, hold this. I'll be right back. I went downstairs and got the cars and put them right in front of the door. Big car and our car. You know what I'm saying? So when Big comes out, because it's going to take him a long time to walk out, that we'll be right there. We didn't have to wait for the cars or anything. So Big comes out, everybody comes out, we walk, it's taking time, I go back upstairs, we walking real slow, because Big could barely walk. They was pushing him around Cali in a wheelchair. You understand? He didn't want that look when he went upstairs, so he came up on a cane. I think he had fractured or broken his fibula bones in his thighs or something like that. So he wait time, he gets in the car and everything like that. So then I'm thinking we ready to go. And we were supposed to be going to Steve Stout's house. Steve Stout was a producer. I don't know, he's some kind of bigwig or manager, producer, something like that. So Steve Stout, we supposed to be going to his house, but then I got a phone call because I had called Chaz. Because Chaz was already there. I didn't know where Chaz was at. Chaz was out there with the Black Hand Mob, with the crew. And I had told Chaz, I said, yo, Chaz, it's looking real shady up in here. So Chaz was coming from Steve Stout's house down to our house. Down to the Peterson Museum. So he said, yo, don't go up to, y'all don't go to Steve Stout house. But what good is to tell Puff? So the 23 people that came in us with us, it was only 12 of us.
Gene Deal didn't hold back. He called out Stevie J, accusing him of lying and pretending to be something he wasn't. According to Gene, both Stevie and another associate, Maya, were allegedly warned by members of the Crips about a potential threat to Biggie and Diddy. If true, and they said nothing, that raises serious questions. Gene also made a disturbing claim involving Usher during his younger years. While the details remain unverified, the implication is that some individuals in Diddy's circle may have crossed serious boundaries, something that continues to concern many following this unfolding story.
If you don't mind me asking, because I know the topic is sensitive, what happened to Usher?
I heard about some music executive from the industry back in Harlem. You know, I heard it from some music executives back in Harlem. And I'm not gonna speak on their name. They doing programs and everything like that, and they may be doing something, they may speak on it themselves. But I heard it from some music executives.
What did you hear?
Bro, you know how people be talking and we was around some people, something like that, and then some people might say, yo, I don't F with that dude. And at the time, I didn't even know who the F Usher was. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those type of situations. And when somebody say, yo, man, I don't F with the I'm getting out that industry and everything like that. You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, bleeding from the and that's what was said. But I didn't even have a name for the kid at the time. Then you heard, and that's what happened. And that's just, that's something that you heard. You don't know if it's true, you just heard it. So, and just to hear this, and this new thing where they saying that they got kids coming forward and said that he did that, man, that is crazy. And like I just said, that's just something that I heard. It's something that I didn't know. It's something that I ain't see. A lot of people want to, because Gene Deal has spoken on certain things that I've heard, I have spoken on it. But then they were just trying to say, I know. No, I'm not scared to say what I heard. And if there's any truth to it, then it's truth to it. Let them find it. Things that I've saw or things that I've witnessed and been a part of, I've said it. I'm not afraid to say what I saw or what I didn't see. A lot of people want to make up. I don't make up things. When I say Puff go in the room with two girls, you understand, and another guy and a rapper, and then all of a sudden they cousin try to go in the room, I throw them up against the piano, they run out the room grabbing towels and they still had two girls in the room. But people want to make up a lot of and say what they want to say and flip it the way they want to flip it. I tell it like it is. But you got these guys, you got these people out here, man, you know what I'm saying? All this is for entertainment, man. Some people want the truth, some people speak the truth. Some people don't even know the truth, it'll smack them dead in the face, brother. But I tell you one thing, it's from my mouth to God's ear. And all these clowns can say whatever they want to say. Like I'm just saying, he lived a rock and roll lifestyle when I was with him, bro. I don't know about his addiction and stuff like that. He was a totally different person, bro. When I try to tell people that, they don't understand that. He was probably doing some of those little snake, doing some things and stuff like that, but the magnitude and what he was doing with the freak off parties and all like that, I didn't experience that with him. That was not my experience with Diddy or Puffy or Puff Daddy. That wasn't my experience with him.
And you had no idea who Usher was when you heard about him?
I didn't know who Usher was at the time. It's all gonna come out some kind of way, bro. All this is God's, this is gonna be, this is something that was put in place, and it was designed by God, brother, for all this to happen and go down like this.
Gene Deal says he heard these stories from people within the music industry, executives who allegedly knew what happened but stayed silent. Whether every detail is true or not, it adds to a troubling pattern of allegations involving the treatment of young artists, with Stevie J reportedly present during that time, organizing events and staying quiet. The questions keep growing. As for Stevie J's response, you might expect a denial or some sort of defense. Instead, he brushed it off. When asked by TMZ, he simply said he's not wasting his time or money on Gene's claims.
I don't know whatever someone does in their bedroom, that's what they do. I don't got nothing to do with that. I'm just here to say that I've never seen my man doing anything foul like they talking about.
None of it. All of it. I mean, you know.
I've never seen it. I've known him for 29 years. And then it's like with guys like 50, you know what I'm saying? Like Uncle Tom cats like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, now you want to put me, I don't know if y'all saw the post where 50 posted about me. Of course you guys see.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah, I mean, 50 has been going after Diddy and everybody associated with him for months now, ever since the Cassie lawsuit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you can't brush under the rug. I don't see anybody reporting about what Tatted Up Holly said about him beating her up and about, you know what I'm saying, his other baby mom saying beating her up. I just look at it as, you know, he wants to bring the black community down worse than anyone else. How is that so? I said what I said on my post, and I'm standing on that too. Now, since he didn't accept what my offer to him, and he want to continue to be a comedian, why don't you go make some movies with Michael Blackson and don't talk about it?
Okay.
If you don't want to fight, if you don't want to donate to charity, donate the bread to charity and fight. Don't stop being a girl and talking about dudes. I find it funny that, you know, when they first try to crucify somebody, they go through the media first. And they're just flooded with lies and propaganda. I'm not concerned about this Curtis. I mean, this dude Curtis. You know what I'm saying? He's Uncle Tom, and that's just what it is. I'm gonna speak on 1,000% of what I know to be true about my guy. His spirits are up. He's spending time with his children and his mother. You know what I'm saying? I'm working out. You know, he's doing very well. I've known this guy for 29 years. See, I'm not just a guy off the internet trolling. I'm a first-hand witness.
Stevie J even told TMZ that Diddy's doing just fine and joked that he should throw a party once he's free, like none of this is serious. But behind that public confidence, insiders claim Stevie might actually be panicking. While he's loud and carefree in public, some believe that privately, he knows Gene Deal's ongoing revelations could put his name deeper into the controversy.
I gotta ask you, you know, of course, you know, the trial's coming up with Diddy.
Free the guy. Free the guy.
I know you said you think he's cleared of all charges. You know, how do you think it's gonna play out?
I mean, I didn't say that he's gonna be cleared of all charges. I said let the court, you know, dictate what it's gonna be, but I just feel it's a lot of it's just a lot of attached to it. You know, you notice those 200 cases from that lawyer from, what's this guy, Busby or whatever? He can't even practice in New York. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I noticed that the RICO charges dropped against him from the Little Rod bogus lawsuit. I can't wait for him to have his day in court so we can come out and we can get back to this music, you know?
Do you feel like, you know, the noise surrounding the lawsuit being dropped has been as loud as it was when it was first, you know, announced?
Absolutely not. But when you're dealing with people on another level, on another playing field, you know, that's against them, then, you know, that's what you will have. But don't count them out, though.
When's the last time you spoke to him?
About a few weeks ago. Yeah.
How's he doing?
Spirits up, you know what I'm saying? Of course he misses his family and everybody, but he's willing to go through this to get to where we gotta go.
Okay. I have to ask you though, do you plan on suing, you know, Lil Rod for claiming, you know, that you were in the video with them, the gay porn star in the video?
I you know what I'm saying? Nah, I don't, he don't got no money, so what I'm gonna sue somebody that don't got no money for? Then I'm wasting money on my lawyer, you know what I'm saying? You know, for what it's worth, you know, I'd rather see my guy free than any of that.
Stevie J could find himself in deeper trouble if the lawsuits against Diddy keep piling up, especially if investigators start digging into who was present at those infamous parties and who may have helped organize them. Stevie also recently took a shot at Lil Rod, the man who filed a lawsuit accusing Diddy of serious misconduct. Stevie claimed one of the photos tied to the lawsuit wasn't even of him and dismissed the allegations, mocking Lil Rod by calling him brokey.
It's just that, you know, Diddy was manipulating him by telling him that he was going to give him, you know, fame, money, and property. How you feel about him saying that?
Said he was going to give him, said he was going to get him a house out there on Star Island. He said a whole lot of things. So, but why would Diddy do that if they didn't have a relationship?
Good point.
Bruh, he was in the house with Diddy for about 13 months. Out of that whole 13 months, Diddy ain't get lucky? I know that ain't funny, man. Out of all the drugs, out of all the parties, all the times that he woke up in the bed with two other workers, out of all the workers that he brought back to the house, because you got to realize, remember in the suit, they said Diddy made him wear this hat that says bad boy. That was a sign for the workers to know he was the guy to come home with. Out of all that stuff that he did he never got lucky?
I mean, you make a good point, man. You might be right, man. So that's what he said in the lawsuit? He said that Diddy would make him wear a hat that said bad boy?
He would, if you read this in the thing, he would make him wear a hat that says bad boy with the bad boy logo. All the workers that had been dealing with Diddy all the time knew that that was the person they were supposed to connect with by the hat he had on. Bro, it's in the paperwork. I read the whole It's in the paperwork. There's 14 causes and effect in that paperwork.
Right. And he also said in this lawsuit that Diddy, he haven't paid him for none of his work.
Well, I think in the paperwork it says that it was either an offer of, he asked Diddy for $50,000, Diddy offered him 29 or something like that, or he gave him 29, and he wanted 21 more thousand with all his publishing. But, bruh, they leaked this on tape. They leaked this on the internet. Diddy was sitting on the couch with one of the, I don't know who he was. And the guy said to Diddy said, I'm the boss of this shit. I'm the boss. And he said, yeah, you are the boss. He said, but Lil Rob ain't shit. We need to get all his publishing. That shit leaked on the internet. And I was like, oh. And then all this stuff came out. But look how funny it is, bro. He filed this shit September of last year. Why are we just hearing about it now? You know why we just not hearing about it?
Why is that?
Because they was trying to figure out some way to pay him and sweep this, let it go out, but it wasn't going through.